friends have never been more important than they are today. Everywhere you turn, there seems to be reasons to give up or not even try at all. We want to be the light in these times and an inspiration for others to keep pushing forward. My journey of growth comes through humility, and I welcome all who are looking to grow with me. Thanks for tuning in to the Crew First Culture Podcast. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is Jeremy. Thanks for tuning in and spend a little bit of time with me today. So it's interesting. For me doing this, I just never really know what's coming. I really enjoy having guests on and have several kind of lined up, or either talking with people of yes, we need to get together and do this, or just ideas of people that I would like to have on, and it's just hard for me right now because I'm trying to kind of limit the time that I spend doing this, at least when I'm home. So that doesn't allow for a lot of viable time to kind of work out schedules, and it's kind of I'm sure a pain in the neck for anybody that I'm trying to have on. So when I do have somebody on, it's very nice, and I really appreciate that kind of extra voice, and I just enjoy that a lot. So hopefully here within the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to work out some times to get with some of these other people and have some good conversations with like-minded individuals that want to do good things, that have a lot of good some good message to share, and things like that. But anyway, the reason I kind of said that is because this whole basically the last 3 or 4 days, when I knew I needed to sit down and record something for today, I had something in mind. And basically, on my way to work this morning, all of that kind of changed, and the direction that I feel like I want to go is completely different. So I'm basically just throwing something together last minute. I sat here for about 10 or 15 minutes and did a little very unscientific research on what I'm talking about. Looked up a couple short videos of different people's opinions on this subject, and we're just going to go from there. So basically, what's on my mind today is the idea of motivation versus inspiration. And this is something that has really kind of been at the back of my mind for quite a while now, and it started, I think it's safe to say it started really with conversation that I had in a podcast early on with Brooke Ames, and this is her message basically, and I don't mean to really take away from what she has to say about it, but really just try to build on, or kind of put my little take on it, I guess, is basically what I'm trying to do here. And so really ever since that conversation, that episode, I've found myself shying away from the term motivation. I feel like I just don't like the term. Not that motivation is bad. I mean, motivation can be a great thing. If you're somebody that is continually motivating others, that I would never claim that that's a bad thing. But I feel like motivation is so fragile, and it's so just in the wind. It's like putting a paper on the ground and just hoping that it'll stay put when the wind starts blowing. what's the chances of that happening? It's not very good, especially where we live. In Oklahoma, there's constant winds, and if you think that something is going to stay put just because you hope it will, it's not going to happen. And so that's kind of my thinking on the subject. And like I said, I did a tiny bit of research this morning, and I'll kind of get into some of that. And I guess I want to start with a quote that I found from Dean Bakari. I guess he's got a podcast that I've not listened to, but I listened to a few minutes of it just earlier to kind of get an idea of really where he was going with it. But this is a I guess it's a quote, but this is something that had his name attached, so I want to give him credit for it. But this is how he described it. Motivation is momentary. Inspiration can last a lifetime. Motivation comes from outside. Inspiration comes from inside. Motivation pushes you. Inspiration pulls you. And so this is the tip of that iceberg. This is kind of where I'm going. And like I said earlier, he says it right there. Motivation is temporary. It's momentary. Inspiration can last a lifetime. And that's why I want to be very limited on my use of the term motivation and really put more of my focus, my energy in inspiration. I really like the last sentence there. Motivation pushes you, inspiration pulls you. I think that's a really good way to think of it. Like I said, I'm not downing anybody that wants to motivate others. I'm not downing anybody that seeks out motivation from others. If you are struggling for the day and you need to be motivated, so you get on Instagram and look at some of the people you follow and say, hey, so and so, I see that they made it to the gym today, and this is their workout that they posted, and looks like they really enjoy being able to get it done, and blah blah blah. If you need that motivation to get something done, that's great. Use that to push you. But what truly brings you to that next level is to truly, truly be inspired. And when you're inspired, you are pulled in that direction. You don't need to be motivated because there is a constant pull to do that particular thing. And well, I've tried to describe several times kind of where I am at kind of in my life right now. And I feel like this is a good way to describe it is that inspiration, that pull. Want I want to do good things. I want to soak up. I want to learn. I want to grow. And so that is what is pulling me right now. It doesn't push me to do better. It's pulling me in that direction. It's constantly pulling me towards getting better every day. And so I just feel like this is a topic that I'm kind of gaining more and more interest in. Just it just means a lot to me, and it seems like it's becoming more so all the time. And so, two ways to look at or another way to look at this is inspiration is more of an inside out type of thing. Motivation is more of an outside in. You're seeing that picture of somebody training, so it pushes you to want to do it yourself. Inspiration is you just want to do it, and it just comes out of you. It's something inside that others see in you. And so that's a big difference to me. So some other thoughts on that from another person that I kind of found real quickly this morning, and I'm gonna butcher his last name, I'm sure. I've not heard of him before, but he's got a book that I'm probably very interested in looking into. But his name is Dr. Lance Sacraton. That's the best I can say it. So hopefully that's close enough. But so kind of how he describes it is to motivate is to provide a motive, to induce, incite, impel. So you're basically changing people's behavior for your own benefit. You're steering the behavior of others. So basically kind of how he describes it is, I'm going to put this coupon out to motivate you to go buy my product. I'm going to put this picture out of me working out and this workout gear to motivate you to buy it because it looks good on me, or put this this product out to motivate you to go get it because you want to get to where I'm at. That's kind of how he portrays motivation. So to get into an inspiration, so he describes it as to affect, guide, or rouse by divine influence, to fill with enlivening or exalting emotion, a divine influence upon human beings to give life, the breath of God. And then he goes in and says further, something we give without a need to receive anything of our own. It's an act of love or service. So there's a big difference there, looking at kind of how he describes those two. I would say that is a huge difference. And, I think it's good to bring these other opinions in because that's exactly what they are. I'm giving you my opinion. I started out with Dean Bakari's kind of his quote or opinion on it, and now I'm getting into Dr. Lance's kind of opinion on it, and it's good to hear these different opinions. I don't want it to be just mine. I probably will go into this at another time so I can really dig into some more research and really do it properly. Like I said, this is kind of a rush deal because I really wasn't planning on even talking about this, but I I like seeing the opinions of others, and like I said, Brooke Ames, if you are not familiar with her, I did an earlier podcast. I can't remember which one it was without looking, but Miss I screw it up every time I say it. Misfit Hose Dragger is her social media page, and she was starting to get into some public speaking and kind of all the virus stuff shut it down just like everything else. But reach out to her if this is something that interests you, because like I said, this is her message, and I I want to make sure that I kind of give her credit as well along with these other gentlemen, because that's where a lot of kind of where my mindset has come from. So definitely look her up if you haven't yet. But so getting back to the doctor's kind of what he has to say about it, he talks about motivation is changing others' behavior for my benefit. Inspiration is basically something you're giving without the need to receive anything of your own, and I think that really correlates well with those of you out there, those of us in the fire service, and know this is another one of those podcast that is not a quotation mark fire service episode. This is a life episode. And but I will say that, you know, very easily correlated to the fire service, because that's why we do it. We're giving something to the citizens and not expecting anything back. Okay, those of us that do it for a living, yes, we get paid. If you want to make that argument, okay, I see that. That's fine. But really, you're kind of missing the point if that's the direction you want to go. I think we do it because we feel like it's the right thing to do. We enjoy helping others. Just we love to make a difference, basically. And so that's really kind of, if you want to boil down the fire department, that's what it is. And so, I kind of, I heard, I don't know if it was even a quote or just basically a definition of the two, probably last year. It's been a long time, and I wish so much that I wrote it down, or wrote down where I heard it, or something, because I can't find it anymore. And it really spoke to me so well as to a way to really define the two. And I kind of, I'll say how, or I'll say the closest I can remember it going, but this to me sums it up. And so this is the best I can explain it. I'm basically paraphrasing something I heard, so it's not a quote from me. I have no idea where it came from. So if this is an actual quote from somebody, I apologize. I don't know where it came from. But so motivation is getting someone to do something that you want to do, or you want them to do, that they don't want to do. So I'll say that again because I kind of messed it up. Motivation is getting someone to do something that they don't want to do. So like I said earlier, you're getting that person to work out today, even though they don't really want to. You're motivating them to do it when they don't want to. So inspiration is getting someone to do something because they want to. So to truly inspire somebody is me doing my thing, not trying to do anything else, totally standalone of anything else. I'm just doing my thing because I feel it's right. I'm inspired to do it. I'm being pulled in that direction to do the right thing, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you want to put in those blanks. Me doing me inspires others to want to do that. Others are inspired to do what I'm doing because they want to, not because I'm pushing them to, or not because they have to push themselves to, but because that is what they truly want to do. And so to me, that really just, that's truly if you want to boil it down to the bare bones, that's it. And I want to go through it and say it again. And I don't want to wear it out, but I want to, really kind of let it soak in. And so motivation is getting someone to do something that they don't want to do. Inspiration is getting someone to do something because they want to. And so I feel like that is where that's where we need to strive to get to. And I feel like that's kind of where I'm at career wise right now for myself, is in a place where I have tried to motivate people and I have failed. And I have experienced a lot of frustration and a lot of just depression is not the right word, just irritation at myself, feeling like I just am not a very good leader because I can't motivate people. And honestly, as I'm saying this, you're kind of, if you're listening to this, you're experiencing me growing in real time right here, because I am starting to see that if I am depending on the motivation of others as my benchmark of how good of a leader I am, I will never, I'll never reach any kind of satisfaction in that role. I will never be a good leader in my eyes if I am depending on how much or how well I motivate others. Because it's uh, motivation is like holding water in your hands. Yeah, you're going to be able to do it for a little bit, but it's going to find cracks between your fingers. It's going to, it's going to go away. Sooner or later, you're going to have two empty hands and that water is going to be gone. And so if I have set my line in the sand of saying, if I'm a good leader, I should be able to motivate my men and women that are below me. If I'm a good leader, I should motivate the people that look up to me as a leader to do exactly what I want to do, or to, be as motivated as I am. If these are the things that I am saying, and these are the this is the ruler that I am judging my leadership off of, then I'm going to be disappointed, thoroughly and regularly disappointed. And that's not anything to do with anybody else. It's not anything to do with you. It's just, you can't judge where you are as a leader on how much you motivate others, how well you motivate others. And I think, like I said, I feel like these are things that I haven't really even thought of till literally as I'm speaking it. And so now the other side of that coin, if I put my growth as a leader, my worth as a leader, my success as a leader in how well I can inspire others, that's when you're really just that's where you can truly put that measurement on. And maybe that's hard to see. How can you define how well you're inspiring others? How can you measure that? Well, I don't know. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But kind of where I'm going with this is, and this is something that I've truly kind of worked myself into mindset wise lately, is I'm done trying to motivate others. Uh, I'm going to try to be done with it. If others see what I'm doing and want to do it, then let's go. Let's do good things together. But I can't allow myself to just want to do good things because I see others want to do good things with me. Because sometimes others aren't motivated to do that. Others don't want to follow that. Others don't want to do the same things that I'm doing. So I have to do what I'm inspired to do. I have to do what I feel like I am being pulled to do. And by doing that, I hope that I inspire others to do the same. And so that's kind of what I'm getting at, as far as my comparison of judging myself as a motivator or judging myself as an inspirer. And so, like I said, I feel like this is something that I've really kind of worked myself through just very recently. I think something that has really pushed that is, we had a spell a little while back with, basically lockdown and quarantine and this and that. And I allowed that to severely impact me negatively at the station. My morale, my attitude, my drive, everything was terrible. And I allowed that. I allowed that time to really set me back. And I think the main reason for that was because I was depending on motivation to carry me through. And when you depend on motivation to carry you, as soon as you get that shot in the gut of bad news or just something that's so frustrating, or, you know, yet another policy, or, whatever it is, as soon as that happens, that motivation is gone. And if it's not gone, it has taken a severe hit. And so I think that was my biggest problem is I just I was a motivated person, and that all hit, and I had no motivation left. And when you are depending on motivation to push you in a direction, and that motivation is gone, then it's gone. If that's what you are solely depending on, if it's there, that's great. If it's gone, then you have no drive. That's why you've got to start building a fire inside you, inside, and let that work itself out. And so, you know, we're kind of coming into, it seems, a second phase of lockdown at the firehouse, at the fire department that I work at. And so I have really kind of had a internal dialogue with myself of saying, you're not going to let this happen again. You're not going to let this lockdown affect you like it did the first time. And me being a station officer, having a crew that I'm responsible for, it's not just me that's being affected by this. When I lost my motivation, when I lost my drive, my my attitude and morale tanked, that affected the whole crew. My influence over that crew turned from a good influence to a bad influence. And so this is bigger than me. I have to be I have to have a good attitude. I have to have high morale for myself, obviously, but I'm also responsible for how the station runs, how, what kind of an attitude, what kind of morale I'm allowing or fostering even within my crew. And so that's it's just funny that this kind of area of growth and learning and just realizing has kind of correlated into a time frame of I really need that. I need I need to have learned that. I guess I don't know a better way to say that, but now going into this second stage of lockdown, I'm really glad that I have kind of worked myself into kind of learning that and seeing how I was living off of motivation and it completely failed me. Going back, I need to work off of inspiration. I need to work internally to maintain my drive, my attitude, my morale. So it's just neat looking back. That's life. You learn things, you grow in certain areas, and almost right away you're tested in those areas. And you know that's that makes you look back and say, I'm thankful that these ideas kind of came to light. This thought process came to light. This learning happened. I'm so thankful that I was able to grow in this area because I'm being tested right now with what I've learned and how I've grown. So, I hope that what I've said today kind of it makes sense. I hope that I haven't just gone off on tangents because to me, this is it's a very interesting topic to me. It's very thought provoking to me, and I hope that it is with you out there as well because I think there is a lot to be said about truly limiting how much you seek out motivation and really putting that energy into a deep inside inspiration, starting that process of and I know I've said truly like 18 times today, but truly being inspired from the inside out, getting that fire lit. And I really feel like that's where we need to be. And so, I feel like I've kind of ran the gambit today of what I had to say. And like I said earlier, I don't know that I'm done with this topic. I think there's so much here, and maybe this is something to have somebody else on, maybe Brooke later on, or somebody that feels like they have a lot more to say about it. I would love to get back into it because I think there is so much here, and I think that a lot of people need to hear this because just like me, until I kind of truly saw it in writing and heard it said in a couple different ways, I didn't really understand the difference. Motivation, inspiration, it's all good. They all push you to do good things, and well, if you don't just truly dig into what the two mean and the difference between the two, then it all kind of bleeds together. And okay, that's fine. Not that you just have to understand the difference, or not that it makes that big of a deal if you do or don't, but it really does. And that's kind of what I am learning. That's kind of what I have kind of stumbled upon is it truly does make a difference. To be motivated, it it is not comparable to when you're talking about what it's like say it again, to truly be inspired. And You know, that's kind of the thoughts I'll leave you with today. And I hope that you take some time to kind of test yourself, to challenge yourself, to look within yourself and see where you're at. You know, if everybody everybody struggles, and there are times when you're not inspired. You're not inspired to do anything. And so maybe you do need to reach out and get a little motivation to push you in the direction to keep going, or to just start. Maybe that motivation is what kickstarts you into a an inspired movement in your life. And so, maybe that's kind of how we need to look at it. You you need that little kick in the butt to motivate you to make a real change in your life, which requires you to be inspired to make that change. So, there's a lot to think about there. There's a lot to talk about. And so, and like I said earlier when I started out, this is not a fire service podcast. This is a life podcast. Inspiration, motivation, it's everywhere. It's at home, it's at work, it's at the firehouse, it's at the gym, it's everywhere. And it consumes everything you do. I need to be more inspired at home to really do a better job at some things at home. And I know that. And so I think that's what, maybe I need a little kick in the butt to motivate me in that direction, so that I can gain a true change in life, so that I am inspired to be a better dad, a better husband. And so, that's what I'm going to be personally thinking about. And so, you know, that's the direction I want you to go. What area of your life do you need that inspiration? And once you figure that out, then, like, one of my last episodes, take that step, start that journey, start to make that change, and start doing better. And that's where we constantly need to be going. So again, I appreciate your time so much. That's about all I have to say. I truly enjoy this topic and hope that you got something out of it. If you did, please leave me a message. Direct message me on Instagram, Facebook at Crew First Culture. That's 1ST. You can email me at the same, Crew First Culture at yahoo.com. That's a 1ST as well. I hope that there are people out there getting something out of it. If you are, please share the message, share the podcast. If you feel like you're getting something out of it, I want to ask that you rate and review the podcast. I hate doing this. I don't do it very often, but it really does make a difference. It helps it helps inspire me. If I want to kind of tie it in, it helps inspire me to keep going, to know that I'm doing good things, to know that what I am doing makes a difference. So I would really appreciate that. I've got, if you don't follow the Instagram or Facebook pages, I've got stickers and hats right now that kind of fund the show. And so if you're interested in any of that, reach out to me and we'll definitely get you hooked up with that. So I enjoyed the time. I enjoy any kind of feedback that you want to send me, and hopefully look forward to getting back with you next time. So thank you so very much. Look forward to it. Until then, stay safe and take care of each other. Thank you.